Okay, this is a quick follow-up video because I got hammered for my short on YouTube, TikTok, and some of the other platforms titled George Floyd is not a hero. And I'm going to reiterate that statement for folks who may not have heard it in the back cheap seats. George Floyd is indeed not a hero. Damn it, I'm not going to say that any clearer than that. I don't see George Floyd as a hero at all. But I do see a hell of a lot of hypocrisy surrounding his memory. And that's what I want to talk about today, because folks in the comments were attacking me like hell for what I had to say. So I'm going to clear it up for some of you folks who perhaps you took it wrong, or you want to play the hate game and try to mask it as something else. I started out the video by pointing out that George Floyd has a criminal history, a rap sheet, as long as a damn CVS receipt. That's confirmed. That's not alleged. That's not allegations. It is confirmed that that guy had multiple felonies on his rap sheet. I'm not going to pretend like that didn't happen or mince words to paint him in a brighter light. Nevertheless, his memory is something different. Now, his rap sheet includes shit like pulling out a firearm on a woman that was pregnant. So he got some atrocious shit on his rap sheet. But that had nothing to do with what happened the day he lost his life. Derek Chauvin was not trying to gain some kind of vengeance or take revenge for all of George Floyd's victims in the past. Had nothing to do with that. So fact is, despite George Floyd's incredible history of committing crimes, that didn't have anything to do with what happened the day he lost his life. So some of them folks are trying to all of a sudden say that George Floyd, maybe he deserved what he got because of his history. That's not how it works. The guy served time in prison. He paid his damn debt to society. You don't let him out and kill him and say he deserved it. So I don't buy into that. But what I wanted to point out, while stating that I do agree that George Floyd is certainly not a damn hero, is that we honor folks that are not heroes every day. I mentioned Christopher Columbus to start out with. The whole historical context behind Christopher Columbus appears to be inaccurate. The idea was that he was trying to go somewhere else and stumbled on this landmass and renamed it some shit that had nothing to do with where he was trying to go. He's looking for India. So therefore, the inhabitants of this land that he encountered, he naturally called them Indians. Talking about the Native Americans. He thought he was in India. That's a fuck up. But Christopher Columbus, his only contribution in addition to being a poor navigator, is one of the largest thefts of land in world history. That's his contribution to America. Nevertheless, he has statues, schools named after him, and a whole federal holiday. Is he worthy of that? I'll let you decide while we're criticizing George Floyd. And then I took it to a even deeper, darker step. All of these statues of Confederate soldiers that we fight to maintain, you hear all of these tearing down statues, and then the folks on the right show up to protest because they don't want the statue torn down, because to them, it's defacing history or rewriting history, as if the statue disappearing makes history of what happened go away, which makes no damn sense at all. But fact is, the Confederate soldiers also were committing all sorts of acts by modern day standards would be considered damn near war crimes and certainly felonies. You want to talk about what George Floyd did, pointing a gun at a pregnant woman? You think that some of those Confederate soldiers were not raping slaves and all of that shit? You think they didn't do shit that was way far darker than anything George Floyd could have ever dreamed of? Or should we not talk about that and just paint them as heroes fighting for the little guy? That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying that George Floyd is a hero, but damn it, we honor people that has done some non-heroic shit every damn day. These folks are fighting for slavery, oppression. They wasn't fighting for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they got statues, schools, streets, parks, whole towns named after them. So I get that George Floyd is not a hero, but when has that been a disqualifier? The founding fathers themselves, Thomas Jefferson, impregnated a 14-year-old. and then did not claim the children. I mean, he impregnated a 14-year-old slave and then didn't even claim the children he had with her. Some of our greatest heroes on Mount Rushmore have pasts that are darker than what you see in the sky at night when there is no moon out. Yet we're talking about George Floyd does not deserve to be memorialized because he has a dark past. I'm willing to buy into the argument if you're consistent with it. We're not consistent with it. What the hell is making George Floyd so different? What's making him so different than all of these other folks with awful pasts that are memorialized, that are getting statues, tributes, and schools and all kinds of shit named after them? So what did George Floyd contribute to America at all? Well, there's a host of police departments that changed their arrest and detaining procedures because of what happened to George Floyd. I can tell you one thing, putting a knee on somebody's neck, whether you think that happened to George Floyd at all or not, has been banned throughout the land in a host of police departments. Even if you think he had his knee on George Floyd's big toe, the perception of what was shown in that video has led police departments all over the country to ban sitting on someone, and certainly for 9 minutes. That's because of George Floyd. So when you ask, well, George Floyd didn't contribute, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Police are being held accountable more. Body cams became a thing, oftentimes because of what happened with George Floyd. Cops are being held accountable in many departments because of what happened with George Floyd. And if it wasn't for the right, the ones who are chastising me and tearing me to fucking pieces right now, if it wasn't for the right, Joe Biden, former President Joe Biden, the 46th Commander-in-Chief, would have passed the George Floyd Act, which would have had a host of contributions because of what happened to George Floyd. Just look into the George Floyd Act and you'll see even more things would have came out because of what happened to George Floyd. So he does have contributions, whether you like it or not. I'm not arguing the fact that the guy was a damn career criminal in some aspects. But as I pointed out, a host of other folks were literally in the process of committing all sorts of crimes and atrocities. And they have memorials. What makes George Floyd so damn different? That is the only question I'm going to ask you, because I got tore to shit from that little short on YouTube and TikTok. What makes him so different in regards to he has a dark past and folks want to memorialize him versus all these other folks that have a past that is far worse? You realize how many deaths Christopher Columbus or the Confederate soldiers are responsible for? But yet pulling out a firearm on a pregnant woman who he didn't kill is something you're going to bring up. The Confederate soldiers set the damn White House on fire. Really? Let me know in the comments. I am curious to know what the hell makes George Floyd being memorialized so damn atrocious and wrong compared to all these other bad guys that have received schools, parks, streets, everything from trophies on down named after them. What makes Floyd so different? Let me know in the comments. As always, feel free to smash that like button, click the notification bell, and as always, subscribe to the damn channel. See you in the next video.